Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I'm interviewing one of the most lovely actresses to ever come from London, England. And she's been in a couple cult movies from the 80s. And I'm talking about Eve Ferret. She starred in Absolute Beginners with David Bowie and Patsy Kensit. And she was in that timeless classic Haunted Honeymoon with Gene Wilder, Gilda Radner, and Dom DeLuise. And I am just so excited. I can't tell you how excited I am. I mean, she is just awesome. She's hilarious. She's talented. I can't wait. I wanted to mention last week, Bradford Dillman, one of the great actors, passed away, and he will be missed. He was in classics like Compulsion with Dean Stockwell and Orson Welles, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, a couple Dirty Harry movies. I mean, he was just great. And rest in peace, Bradford Dillman. Today's a special day. It's the 1 year anniversary. It's the 3-year anniversary since I had my car accident. I won't go into any details about it here, but I just wanted to say that I survived the 30-day coma, and I had a couple blood transfusions, and no one expected me to live, but I lived through it, and I thank the Lord for me being here today. I'm so lucky that I get to interview all my favorite cult movie stars. And we're going to start in just a few minutes when she calls me. Just a few moments here. So how did you begin your journey in this crazy little thing called show business?
Always loved the idea, didn't know how to do it, always looked a bit odd compared to other people. Loved Frank Sinatra, loved all the old movies, Doris Day, all the American movies that we used to have here on a Sunday afternoon in England. And but I could never quite work out how to start. My parents were very working class. My dad was a coalman, not a coal miner, but he used to deliver coal in winter. And he used to paint the houses I say he's an artist, he's a painter, but actually he was a painter and decorator, so he used to do the painting. And my mum was a tea lady. And in England, it's a bit different from America. In England, if you, we call it kind of like showing off or bragging. You just kind of use it sometimes as like aspirations. But if I sort of said, oh, I quite fancy doing a bit of acting, they sort of go, oh, don't be ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like a different way, quite Victorian. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I talk very fast. Quite a Victorian English thing, just sort of like never brag, never get out of your station. If you sort of say, oh, I would like to do a bit of acting, they go, oh, she loves to do a bit of acting. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. But anyway, I got the chance to perform, to sing in a bar called The Blitz, which was in Great Queen Street, and they wanted singers in the style of George Formby. Oh, there it is. George Formby was an old English person who played the ukulele. I thought I more like him. Anyway, and this place became quite seminal in kind of, or I think if that's the right word, in what happened in the world, because at this club also were people like Boy George, Marilyn, Spandau Ballet came out of there, but I was the cabaret with a guy called Biggie, and we used to, I don't know, muck about really, you know, I'd have a cut-out bath and sort of thing, you know, splish, splash, I was taking a bath, we just had a huge laugh, and I think, oh yeah, I know what happened. A director from a place called the Royal Exchange Theatre, which is a big theatre in England, but up in Manchester. And I thought he said he was from the Exchange of Mart, which is a car magazine.
Right.
And it's like, you know, you can buy cars from it. But actually, it was from this really big theatre. And he said, I've heard about you. And I said, yeah. And he said, I'm looking So anyway, I said, I'm not an actress because I didn't go to drama school.
Right.
But he said, no, what you have is more than what you have is something else, and we want that something else. Anyway, off I go. I did that. I thought, well, that was a wonderful experience. But then it kind of snowballed, and then I did more and more jobs, and I was in a musical in the West End. I said to the director, what do I have to do? He said, walk on, sing a song, and walk off. And I thought, well, that's all right. And but I ended up being in the show the whole time, singing and dancing, and I with the McGann brothers, the Darts, lots of people, and it was what did I do? Oh, I was singing Hound Dog, and from there. From that, I got off. There were all sorts of different things. I did all sorts of different plays. From there, I got the chance to be in a video. Mm-hmm. And this video was Jazzin' for Blue Jean, which was a David Bowie musical video that he actually won the Grammy for.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you know this. Do you know this?
No.
All right. He won. David Bowie won the best music video, and I didn't realise that was the runner, or if you call it a runner, the forefront for. It was like a testing ground for who was going to be in Absolute Beginners, because the same director, Julian Temple, did the Jazzin' for Blue Jean video, and that's where I first met David Bowie, and which was quite an interesting moment, because I was more into American funk, like James Brown, Marvin Gaye. When he came over, I went to see Marvin Gaye and everything. I wasn't really a Bowie fan, which was, and also he was too thin. I thought, what would you do with such a man? But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, he came onto set. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. Everybody was going crazy about him, but I didn't have that same kind of thing. If it had been Frank Sinatra or something, I didn't. But I just thought, oh, here he is, David Bowie, hello. And the first thing I said to him was, oh, you don't have a brown eye at all, is what I said to him. You've got a big pupil. I thought, why did I say that to him? Anyway, we got on incredibly well. We spent a while. He said, why have you got a name like Ferret? Why did you choose the name Ferret? And which he thought was very odd. And I said, no, that's my name. That's my birth name. That's, my parents' name was Ferret. And I didn't sort of go on to tell him that actually it comes from Django Reinhardt, that's from France, and Django Reinhardt, the Hot Jazz Club of France. If you look at any of their albums, you'll see that it goes Django Reinhardt, and there's also a Pierre Ferret, who's my relation. Oh. Anyway, that's another story. So David Bowie's there, and we're singing these old Cockney songs, which some of you may know out there, and some of you might not know. But there was this song that I learnt from my grandmother that he also knew, and we ended up singing this song on set, which was Anthony Newley. Do you know who that is?
Who was it?
Anthony Newley. He was.
Oh yes, Anthony Newley. He was great.
Yeah, he was a huge actor. And he wrote many songs like da 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 da. You know how.
Yeah.
That sort of.
He wrote the Candyman.
Candyman. So many things. He wrote the Bond film, Goldfinger. The things like that. Well. Mm-hmm. And Bowie had a kind of essence of the way he would sing like that, with those kind of open vowels. So we sang this song sort of like a bit Anthony Newley, so it was sort of a bit more like "Call and any old time," that kind of sort of old-fashioned Englishy, Cockney kind of singing. And then when we finished, and I thought, oh, well, he's a nice chap, and he went. And then 6 months later, we're on the set of I'm on the set of Absolute Beginners, and the hum went around again. Oh, Bowie's coming. I thought, well, he'll never remember me. That was a moment 6 months ago. He had so much in his life. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, he came across the set, and he went, hello, Ferret, how's it going? And people said, you never told me that you knew David Bowie. And I said, I don't. I said, I just happened to meet. I don't know David Bowie.
Of course.
What was I going to say to you, Jared? And the bit about Absolute Beginners that nobody sort of knows, and I've spoken to Julian Temple about this, is that it became like a music video, a massive one.
Yeah.
Because at the time, MTV had just started and were making a lot of money. Because the company, Goldcrest, went down the pan with Al Pacino's Revolution film. It was about the same time, same money at the same time.
Yeah.
And we'd actually, I had so many more scenes and everything like that, but they changed it like 2 weeks before it even went out to being like to recoup as much money as they could.
Right.
And they felt that the way that they could get more money was to make it like a really long music video. That's why it's not quite. You always said I'll try and do the editor's cut, and I mean not the editor, the director's cut. But he can. But of course, at the time it was filmed, and so when it was cut, it was literally cut. Not like how it's done now. So it would be hard to get all the different bits together. Anyway, I'll shut up now, Tommy. It's your show.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most misunderstood musicals ever made because, the movie, because it was badly edited and everything out here in America and stuff. But, I like how it's got this, 1940s, 1950s backdrop with, 80s energy to it.
Yeah. Well, I can say this because I've said it actually on stage in England. It's not like a secret. What happened was, they used to see the Russian. There was about 4 hours worth of material, and they had a editor, and unfortunately he got poorly and had to go off to try and cure himself. He was really poorly. They got another editor, and that didn't work out, and then another editor. And when Julian saw the film, he said, "This is not my film."
Yeah.
And they banned him from the editing suite.
Oh my God.
No, so there is a whole thing there which never really got. And when I contacted Julian, I'm not in contact, close contact with him. I just said that some people wanted to use me to ask him if he would mind doing this thing, and he said, "Just tell it as it is, Eve." So I feel I have permission because I was on that set every single day because I was WC duty, which people would think maybe toilet duty, but actually it was weather cover. And so if it was lovely weather or whatever, we were outside. If it rained or whatever, they would come in and shoot me, and do inside. So I had to be there in case the weather changed, and that's how it was. So I was there the whole summer. So when I saw the film, I actually said to my agent, "You'll have to take my name off of that." And it's not because I hated it, but because I wasn't in it as much as it was written, and the storyline. There was a massive storyline with the Colin McGuinness book. It was much more faithful to that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's a shame.
Did you get along with Patsy Kensit and Eddie O'Connell?
Yes, absolutely. I used to pick up Ed. Well, I didn't pick him up. The car used to stop for him on the way to the studio for Eddie. And we both went off together. And Patsy was very, very young. She was only 17. I remember her saying to me, I was on the lot, as it were, on the set, and it was a massive set, and it was built by John Beard did it, and it was a recreation. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. The sets were just amazing. So I was mucking about on set on the back of a scooter, as I would be, and she turned round to me. She said to me, "Eve, how old are you?" And I looked at her and I thought, So I said, I can't remember. I said, "Oh, I'm 26." And she said, "You can't be like that." She said, and I said, "What?" She said, "You can't be that old." And I thought, "No, I'm not. I'm older." But that made me laugh so much because see, coming from like a 17-year-old's eyes, everyone, she couldn't quite fathom how old I was because I was mucking around a lot. But she was absolutely wonderful, is wonderful, and a very kind and a lovely woman.
That's good.
Eddie, although I'm sure she's well. But I do see Eddie from time to time. I'm, we chat, Facebooky chat from time to time. So, I think he wasn't helped as much as he should have been on the set.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He should have. He was young. He was vulnerable. He should have been mentored more.
Yeah.
So go on. Other questions. The colours are good, aren't they? That's a funny thing to say, but I love that kind of Technicolor sort of look.
Yeah, I love the scene where you and him are watching Sade sing.
Oh, I know. Well, she was amazing because, she's just an amazing-looking woman for a start, and such a lovely person, and the singing, and I'm fine with how I look and everything like that, but I actually have got more of an Edwardian sort of, I should have been born 100 years ago. Do you know what I mean? I should have been more around in the 1880s, not the 1980s.
Yeah.
I mean, I had more of that kind of Toulouse-Lautrec, the sort of like Renoir, all those kind of women that were about then, because I thought, I can't see any women like this, are they? And then as soon as you go into a museum, you go, there I am. So that scene with Eddie, we basically, because we got on very well, we were friends. We were friends off set and on set.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Another great actor that's in the movie is Steven Berkoff.
Yeah. Oh no, he's scary, isn't he? I mean, he's wonderful, wonderfully scary, but he scares me off screen and on screen. I don't know why. There's something unnerving, let's put it that way. He's not horrible or anything. It's just his presence and his power is so much.
Oh yeah, because he was coming off of Beverly Hills Cop and Rambo 2, where he played villains in those movies.
Oh yes. Oh, I didn't know he was in Rambo 2.
Oh yeah.
He's in Rambo 2. Steven Berkoff is an amazing actor, and those scenes, because they were it was much more powerful, some of those scenes, and actually when the fighting was going on, which I don't think in real life as we were doing it was very violent. There was fire going everywhere, very dangerous. Everyone was screaming on the set. I mean, it was like people were doing it for real.
Yeah.
And I think that's because there was a lot of people that weren't actors. They were actually from the clubs in London club land. Yeah,
they were probably extras.
Yeah, but they were given torches. Those batons with fire coming on. If you would pretend fire, but it was real fire flying around everywhere. Anyway. Go on, Tommy.
Are you amazed that the movie has gotten this kind of, small cult following?
Yeah, it's spun itself around, hasn't it? And it has become. I am, because before we even turned over in London, I don't know what it was. You must have been a child, a very young person, but in England, there's in London there was a magazine called Time Out. I don't know if they have it in America. It was like told you what was going on, what was happening, and it said, and this is before they'd even started filming 20 reasons why absolute beginners should fail or shouldn't make it or something like that. It was almost like it had a bad hype thing before it even started, and I don't know why that was. So all these years later, it's spun itself, and I meet quite a lot of people that absolutely love it. And I'll tell you who was great. Slim Gaillard.
Oh.
Slim Gaillard.
I know who he is.
He's Slim Gaillard, black American jazz musician, Salterini, singer, mixer, Puddy, sang done all this stuff. I mean, an absolute brilliant guy who came to live in London, England, in the 80s. I think he might have been in the 70s, 80s. He actually lived here. He was great fun and great on the set. And he did the music, you see, he did lots of the music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That, I think you did that. Oh, I'd have to look that up. Anyway, go on, Tommy. Sorry, I do talk ever so much.
Oh, it's okay. I love informative guests.
Oh, good.
So how?
And where are you? You're in California.
California, in Redding, which is close to Sacramento.
Oh, in Reading. How funny. I don't know, because there's a Reading in England, but I don't know. I just know the Sacramento just as a name in a movie. But what else would you like to ask?
So how did Haunted Honeymoon come into your life?
Well, I was at home thinking, what do I fancy doing? And it was different times. You could do different things. It's not quite the same now. Or it might be, I don't know. But I saw that they were doing a James Bond film, and I phoned up the casting lady called Irene Lamb, I believe her name is, and I phoned her up and I said, "Hello, you don't know me. You could get through then." "Hello, you don't know me. My name is Eve Ferret, and I wondered if there was a part in the Bond film. Obviously not the beauty, but I thought I could be a baddie and come crashing through the door and sort of like strangle someone. That was my idea." Anyway, she said, "I know exactly who you are, Eve." She said, "You're not right for Bond." And I said, "Oh, God." You know, of course you should. But I would like you to meet someone. Are you about tomorrow for a movie?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yes. She said, could you please go? And she said to up at Eaton Square, could you please go to Eaton Square and meet Gene Wilder? And when I said to her, when's this? And she said, tomorrow. And I went, oh my God, how can I lose a stone in a day? Now, a stone would be like pounds, so it would be about 14 pounds. How can I lose a stone in a day? I'll have to cut my head off. But anyway, as I go to meet him, this is Gene Wilder, and he's rented this house for the auditions, and there's all these well-known actors there. And I'm sitting in the outside in the waiting room. Well, it's not a waiting room, it was like in the hallway of this house. And he kept coming and goes, yeah. You know,
yeah.
He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, like that. Anyway, he goes, and he's quite tall, or was quite tall, you know, because he sometimes thinks sometimes actors are deceptively little, if you know what I mean, or short. Anyway, he came out very tall and he said, come in. He's like this, and he goes, yeah, I think that'll be great. And I said, what do you mean? I haven't auditioned. He said, no, you're perfect, like this. And I said, do you want me to do something? And he said, yeah, do something. And I sang a song that his wife, Gilda Radner, I can't remember if I think she was his fiance, and then they got married. Gilda Radner sang Let's Talk Dirty to the Animals. And he said, that's great. Really weird because it was because about 6 weeks before I'd sung it on stage and somebody said that's disgusting. But anyway, it's to show different things. And but he was the director, I'm sure you're aware as well.
Yep.
Not only was he the actor, and then I was acting opposite him as his ex-girlfriend, but he was directing me at the same time. And he was the most incredible spirit because I kept calling him Mr. Wilder, and he said, Gene. I said, okay, Mr. Wilder, Gene. You know, I said, okay, Mr. Wilder. We had this sort of laugh going on. And he said, okay, show me the scene. Show me the scene. You know, like, you don't know. You went. And so I did it, and he went, yeah. And I said, what is it? And he went, it's good. And I went, but I'm not the funny one. That's what I said to him. And he said, yeah. I said, it's okay, I can feed you. I know exactly how to do that. Because obviously I'd worked out the scene on my own without anyone there. And then we just walked it around and we had just a great time. And then there was this other scene that I must tell you about, which you might like, with Dr. Louise was in it. hilarious, funny man.
Yeah.
And he was at the top of the staircase, and he must have gone over and over his lines about 25 times. And all I had to do, but he kept laughing. So he goes, like this, and everyone was laughing, he was laughing. And all I had to do was, when he came down to the bottom of the stairs, all I had to do was open my gob and say, and do an American voice, go, isn't it exciting, like this.
Yeah.
But he came down, and I thought, oh my God, he's done it. I've got to open my gob, open your gob, open my mouth, open your mouth, and speak. And this is what in my head, and I went, oh, what a laugh. This is what I said, this really Cockney voice, London Cockney voice come out. I thought, oh my God. Just only like this. Next morning, I got a call that I had to see Gene. I thought, I've ruined that whole take.
Oh.
You know, they waited 26 takes or whatever it was for me, and I ruined it. I go into the room, Gene's there, very, very serious. He's never serious, was never serious. And he goes, Eve, I've got something to say to you. And I said, okay. Thinking, oh my God. You know, like when you go to see the headmaster or mistress of your school, do you have headmasters in America? Is it the same thing, like the head of the school? I don't know. I had that kind of feeling. I said, he said, you can't be in this next scene. And I went, oh. And he said, yeah, because you'll give the game away if you're in this next scene. I said, is that it? And he said, yeah. And I went, oh, thank God for that. And he said, what, you're not upset? He thought that I was going to be upset. He thought I was going to ask for, he said, if you were in America and you were American, you would have been asking for, demanding that you had your scene.
Yeah.
Because I was edited out of the thing. You would have demanded extra money, you would have demanded all this, and all you're saying is that it? Anyway, I tell you another, are you interested in another little story on the set?
Of course.
Okay, there's this bit where I have to kiss Jonathan Pryce, and Jonathan Pryce was, it was fine. He wasn't over friendly. I could tell that he was very concentrating on his part and in his role for the scene. We hadn't rehearsed it. I thought, and I'm standing there thinking, oh God, I thought, okay. And he was working with Vanessa Redgrave for the night time. And I was in the West End, and I was thinking, in a Chekhov play, and I was thinking, oh my God, Ferret by day, Redgrave by night. Do you know what I'm thinking? Oh my God. And I was standing there next to him thinking, oh, I've got to kiss this man. This is going to be sort of weird. I know maybe actors and actresses don't normally say things like this, but I'm just telling you my inner thoughts as it's happening. So I went, oh my God, I'm going to have to go over there. All of a sudden, Gene Wilder came over to me and whispered in my ear and said to me, he's done it before, but I know you can do it. Do you know, and I just thought, oh my God, this guy, who's the director and an actor, giving me such confidence to sort of like, to not worry. He obviously had picked up on the fact that there wasn't conversations happening between us, and I was just standing there. So for this, who we all know, Gene Wilder, to come over and go, he's done it before, but I know you can do it, like that, which is so amazing. Anyway, we did the scene in one take, and he went, great, cut, a moment like that only happens once in the movies. Let's move on. That's it.
Wow.
And he was extraordinary. He's an extraordinary man.
Yeah.
I'm very, very privileged to have met him and to have had that moment.
Yeah, I mean, they were heroes of mine growing up because I'm a comedian, and they were like my heroes, Dom DeLuise and Gene Wilder, and of course Gilda.
Yeah.
And this is where Gilda found out she was sick, right?
Yes. And she was, and she it was when she found out that she had the cancer, and it was all a terribly hard time.
Yeah. But I think she got through it just fine, though.
yeah, no, she got through that bit fine, and we had a huge laugh on set. And she, I spoke to them a few times afterwards, and she kept saying, I actually sort of spoke like that. Eve,
yeah.
Come out. This is what you're doing. She said, tennis. I said, oh, no.
Yeah.
playing tennis. But anyway, but I never did get out to see her. Most people do just on the chance. But to be quite truthful, I didn't have a huge amount of money to have gone out there I would have had to have relied on them, and I've never been that type of person. I wouldn't want to rely on them. I'd want to be able to take them out for dinner.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a sort of like a hard thing. But anyway, it's a great time.
Yeah, when her and Dom they do that rendition of Ball in the Jack. It's just
I know
classic.
And it was fantastic. And I was standing right there when they were doing that, and it was absolutely fantastic. And the laughter, and Dom DeLuise and Gilda were the same person on screen and off screen.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was walking down. Have you been to London?
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to London, Tommy?
Someday I will go.
There were, well, anyway, Dom was just walking down the street, just laughing, and then the next minute he'd be crying, and it was just sort of like the most wonderful person. And Gilda, we went out to the theatre together to see Jonathan Pryce in the Chekhov of, the Seagulls as they were playing. Mm-hmm. So they were. There was this other woman on set, which you might not have picked up on, Gillian.
Yeah.
And she was an extraordinary woman, because me and her, she sat around eating all the time. And so I'd come flying by her, because we're all on set all the time, different comedians, a lot of comedians all the time. And she said, please go over. And I said, no, I can't really fit in. I can't fit in because I'm not telling the jokes and everything. Mm-hmm. And she said, no, go over. And anyway, nobody was taking any notice of her, Tommy.
Yeah.
And we, so nobody was taking any notice of her, but I was, and we were there, and I was going to look at that, and like that, and we went out for dinner in the evening, or whatever. She was in, I believe you call it in America, summer stop, with Gene, when they were young. Mm-hmm. And so she was his friend, so we were there. And then she said, when I get home, oh God, when I get home, I'm going to have to sort out my plantation. And I said to her, plantation? And she said, yeah. I said, why? I said, a plantation? I said, I've got a backyard. What do you mean a plantation? And it turns out that she was married to Merv Griffin.
Wow.
And she was married to Merv Griffin. Nobody on the set knew that. And when they found out that she was a Merv Griffin's wife, she suddenly became very popular. And she said, see what I mean, Eve, it's best to keep a low profile. And I said, and we've got amazing. She was an amazing, wise little pussycat, that woman. And she opened the first woman's bank in America because when they divorced, she couldn't have a bank account. So she thought, I'll open up my own bank. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is the first woman thinking, right there and then is the first strong woman that you'll ever meet. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, Merv Griffin went to my high school like 55 years before I did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was your high school then?
San Mateo High School, which is San Mateo is the small town of San Francisco.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how funny. So what do you do in? I know that you do this. You've got your blog. You do your thing on YouTube, and you do your stuff. How's it all going for you?
Well, I do stand-up comedy.
You do stand-up, and how's that going?
I've been doing that 12 years. It's really difficult in terms of, business and getting booked and all that stuff, but I'm not giving up. I love doing it.
Yeah, no. The thing is, you can't give up what your heart tells you that you love.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's just different. And because everybody, we've got this new social media thing. Well, it's not that new now, but, compared to how it was previously, 20, 30 years ago,
Right.
everybody seems to come up with so many different bits and pieces of everything. You can't actually see what you could go. Like everybody, if they've got a bit of a boot sale, they're on the internet, they're selling the boot sale, they're selling, do you know what I mean? So therefore,
Yeah.
it's just hard.
It is hard, but I'll get to it though because it's my dream. I mean, I've been doing it my whole life pretty much.
Yeah.
And all that.
No, well, you should. Anyway, go on. Anything else you want to ask me?
Oh yeah, this was one of the early roles for Jim Carter.
Oh yes.
He was very scary in the movie.
In what? For Jim Carter? Oh, Jim Carter.
Yeah.
No, he was. He is, but he's a lovely man. Absolutely lovely man. He's got very successful again he's always successful. He's always been working. And he has been in Downton. And he's married to a big actress here, really famous actress. I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I can't remember her name either.
Yeah, Imelda Staunton. He's married to her, but he is a lovely, kind, which you might not want to hear, but he's a very lovely, kind, and was very, very generous to me in terms of just being able to just sit there and be, because a lot of these people they're incredibly, incredibly famous people on the set that other people occupying their time. And you could kind of see, I didn't want to be the person that would go up to them and go, just sort of like waffling on. I gave them their space, but some people didn't give them their space. But Jim Carter was, he is scary in it, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's such a formidable person.
Yeah, he looks like an owl with those lighting eyes.
I know, that's true. That's true.
That woman who played his wife, Jo Ross, is she still alive?
I'm not sure. I don't think she can be, can she? I doubt it. She seemed to be incredibly old then, but she might be. I don't know. I'd have to look her up. Look her up on Wikipedia and see what's happening. Mind you, I'm not on Wikipedia. I'm about to go on Wikipedia. I seem to be the last to do anything. What gets on your nerves, the sort of like this whole kind of selling of yourself. Sometimes feel like selling of your soul.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I looked on IMDb.com. It said that she stopped acting in like the early 90s.
Yeah.
She was a gorgeous woman, though.
Yeah, she was. Tiny, 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 tiny. Like my left leg walking around with a head on it. Go on, Tommy, ask me anything.
What was Brian Pringle like?
Very Pringly. But he was, he didn't suffer fools, so therefore he didn't suffer me. No, he didn't suffer. He was a very private man. He kept himself to himself, and he did his job and then sort of like retired to the Winnebago, like the caravan thing, to a different room. But people like Don DeLuise, you see, it was like he was on show. He was there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was there, just there for the laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the role lead to a lot of work for you?
It did, and I did lots of different things, but I can't remember. I must sort of look up on my timeline. agent went down the pan for taking everybody's money.
Oh, yeah.
So it was sort of like a really weird time, and it's a really, I can't quite remember when it happened. I was abroad doing something, and then I kind of came back, and I was on my way back. I said, do you want me to go to Belgium? They said, well, we've just gone into liquidation. I said, what? They said, yeah, one of the actors has just, I don't know what you call it, when you have a liquidation, bought in the receivers because she hasn't got 200, get this, if that was now, let alone then, which is forever ago, £250,000 in royalties. Can you get your head around that?
No,
I just
wow.
can't. That wasn't me, I have to say. I might not even be having this conversation. I would have killed myself a long time ago if that had happened to me. But what happened was she was paying you, but she wasn't paying you the royalties.
Mm-hmm.
So you just didn't quite know how much money was in the pot that would be coming to you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And after that, I got a bit disillusioned with the whole two-facedness of it all.
Yeah.
Is two-faced the right word? There's just
yeah,
all like
backstabbing.
Huh?
Yeah, we call it backstabbing.
Yeah, I can't bear it. I run from it rather than go towards it, and it's ever more prevalent now. You can see it on Facebook. You think they're lying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they've just said something to you, and then whoever they are, they say one thing, and then they turn around and do another.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. But no, it was really good, and then I changed it around, and then I had a child, and when I had my child, I thought, I don't need it. Now there's a big difference there. I didn't need it to fulfill myself. I'd sort of like done it, and I'd been doing everything. But then I've come back to it again. All like about 6 years ago, when my son is still young. He's only just 20. But like 6 years ago, when he comes through and started to become a man, I said, I really want to have another go. Not at being famous, but just doing what I love. Because the fame thing is a double-edged sword.
Yep.
But to do something that you love, like your what is it? Like your comedy and everything like that.
Yeah.
Is you can't. There is no price on that, is there? And I just didn't want to be in the old people. Not that I'm that old, but I didn't want to be in the old people's home going, I wish I'd had another go. And so I don't know if you've looked on my website, but I've managed to pull myself back round somehow, and I'm doing shows about everything over in London in the West End. My own one-woman show where I sing and muck about, talk, and stuff, and my own songs. And so I've gone back to doing that. But loads of people, because of generations have gone by, they don't know what I do. So it's sort of like quite an interesting thing. It's like starting again.
Well, you'll always be, what's your character's name in Honeymoon? Is it Sylvia?
Sylvia, yeah.
Yes, you'll always be Sylvia to me, Eve.
Oh, Tommy, the way you said it was very sweet. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
And, that is so sad. I remember being in New York in about 89, I think it was, but on holiday, not doing the show. And this bike came out of the side road really fast, and then came straight up. Oh my God, now what? A blinking bike. What's happening? And he went, you're in Honeymoon. And I said, yeah. And he went, like this. And I went, oh God, that's really, it was sort of like great. Do you know what I mean? Because he wouldn't have thought, but he would have known. I think that film is another film that is doubles under, and people sort of like, they love it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's such a funny, great movie,
Yeah.
I have two more questions here.
Yeah, so two questions.
Which do you like doing more, theater or film?
But I like them both. Film, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Film because I have the attention span of a pea, and once I've done something, I don't want to have to repeat it hundreds of times.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you stand up and everything like that, which I understand, you go for it, and every time you do it, it's slightly different. You change it, you do this, but when you're in the theatre, you can't do that because you're going to let down the other person. So, but on the film, it's an intensity, and it's something that happens, and it's sort of like, you know, you're on the edge of doing it, and then it's over, and it's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I'd say.
Yeah. And something I've always wanted to know: do the English still refer to the navel as a tummy button?
Yeah, or a belly button.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I'm a huge belly button fan.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that's right. Well, I've never heard that, but that's good. That's good. We can all have a different, different things that we like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was some English girls that went to school with me, and they used to call it a tummy button, and so that's why I was curious.
Oh yeah, no, we do. Paul, it's been fantastic talking to you.
Oh, it's been spectacular talking to you too, Eve. And I also appreciate, I know over there it's later than it is over here, and I just can't believe how sweet you were to take the time.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. You know, life goes very quickly. We have to, when you came to us, well, there's no reason not to. And I'm pleased to answer your questions, and I will. And thank you, and have a wonderful life.
Oh, you too, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Eve Ferret. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Eve. I really appreciate you taking the time, the late schedule over there in London, England. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Twitter. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my comedian page and all that good stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.